Welcome to Getting Started with Slack. So let's get started. Okay, so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Lauren Bradley. I'm the founder of The Officials at jointheofficials.com. I have been an admin or an assistant for over a decade, both in New York and in London. I'm originally from Pittsburgh in America, and I met my crazy English husband on MySpace and 12 years ago, and I have and then moved over, and I've mostly been in London since 2008. Started my career here temping. I've interviewed to be Camilla Parker Bowles' PA. I won the Office Ninjas All-Star Award in 2006, and I started The Officials as just a Facebook community in 2015 before it was pretty common. And now, because I needed a group, I needed people like what Miss Jones PA does and what Lisa does in her team, which was to help bring us together. I'd moved to New York and I was new. My whole little black book that I had in London was useless to me now. So I needed to connect with people. So I created it, and then we all started talking and I learned a lot from them. I also found that I was teaching a lot through these, a lot of mentorships. Requests started happening, started mentoring, and then they all started asking the same questions. We have a lot of the same questions. We all just attack it differently. So I started bottling up these answers basically and turning them into courses. And so that's what we do over at The Officials. We have a community that is on Slack. We have online training courses, and just kind of like this, but they take about, depending on how busy you are, they can take you a day to get through. They could take you a week to get through. They could take you a month to get through. Right? They're much more in depth than what I'm going to do today. But, and when we have mini sessions that are kind of like what this is today, like a little mini dive, and then mentorship. So I hope you check it out. But that's who I am. And that's kind of just so if you want to know my expertise and authority, and if you're new to me. Okay, so I've already asked who's using Teams, who's using Slack, a little bit of both. A lot of people that haven't used it, so that's fantastic. I'm guessing the people in here that have used it, like their company has already set it up for them. If you've used Teams, this is going to be very similar, which is good. So it really helps having that kind of understanding, because then it'll help you go, well, I know Teams can do this, so can Slack do this? And I always think that's really great. It's knowledge that you can share across the way. So Slack really started in 2014. It was a company was trying to create a game. I think it was called Tiny Speck or something. And the US team and the Canada team of software developers needed to talk to each other, and the engineers. So they developed Slack to communicate while they were building this game. Then they shelved the game and pushed Slack to the forefront because they found it so helpful. Sorry, because I'm in my Slack and I can't get out of it. It's still making sounds, and I'm not going to close it for now. So you might still hear my Slack coming up. But so it became so helpful and people started getting really interested in it, especially software developers, that they then just developed Slack. So Slack has actually been around. So for 6 years now, and there's people that still have not used it or understood. And think about Teams only just really launching big time this year, and how long Slack has been around already. And I find it really fascinating because I've worked in some way, shape, or form remotely since 2008 in my very first role. And I was an office manager where you need to be in the office. And I was always allowed to work from home a couple of times a month because I would have key projects where I really needed to concentrate. And I wished we'd had Slack then because it would have been really helpful. I think at the time I used Google Voice or something to really help us. But it would have been really helpful. But I always worked in tech, so Slack became a big part of my life really early on. And I was late to the game, I felt like. And so now everyone going like, what Slack, what Zoom? Like my husband was like, what Zoom? Was mind-boggling to me. But I understand there is a large portion of people that don't know it very well. So that's what we're here for today. That's what we're here to talk about. But essentially Slack and Teams are both a fantastic way to communicate. It's a little bit better than a instant messaging system, or something like WhatsApp gets a bit more interesting, but it's like with several steps beyond WhatsApp, to be honest. And WhatsApp you can have on as a desktop application, and you can have it um, on your phone, but you can't video call through WhatsApp. Slack, the real key behind Slack is all the integrations it can do. I don't even know how many apps you can link up to Slack, but to be honest, I rarely find one. I'm like, that looks like it would integrate with Slack, and it always does. Gmail, Trello. Anyone use Doodle for scheduling meetings and finding out like the times that people meet up? That's in there. Polling. There's a really fun one called Giphy, which I'm going to show you some fun things today. And it just allows you to have a more interactive conversation. The reason why software developers really like it, because they don't like to touch their mouse. Is anyone here someone that loves keyboard shortcuts? Please raise your hand if you're not. The one thing I can tell you, if you are not doing this already, learn how not to touch your keypad, or how to not to touch your trackpad or your mouse. There are keystrokes for everything. Just being able, like, do you know how to flip back and forth between your applications when you're working? Like, do you just know how to do that without having to take your mouse and go over and click the different tabs? Like, do you know how to click? Like I have a Mac, so I hit Command Tab, and I hold down Command, I can flip through. Where do you find all the keystrokes? So it depends on what you're working on, Laura. Now tell us, are you on a Mac or are you on a PC? You can easily Google keystrokes for PC. So like, do you know Control plus C is copy? So if you want to copy a bunch of text, you can hit Control A for is select all, Control C is copy, Control V is paste, Control X is okay. So it's the same kind of stuff. I can't remember what it is for, if somebody remembers PC, what it is to switch between applications, but for a Mac, which is what I have, it's Command Tab, and I can show you what that does. And it does the same thing on a PC. I remember it was 2000 when I saw somebody do that. I was standing over their shoulder and they were looking at my computer. It was an IT guy, and he went through and I was like, what are you doing? And ever since then, I've been blown away by keystrokes. And if I cannot touch my trackpad, I think it's a sign that I'm doing it right and I'm being more productive, right? So they really like that because they can do everything. A lot of engineers that I know never even check their emails. Does anyone else work with IT guys that don't check their emails? Like they'll only communicate in Slack or something like GitHub, which really integrates with Slack. They do a lot of their talking and planning all in Slack. And in fact, you can have your emails come straight into a private channel for you in Slack. You can respond to everything from there. You can assign tasks from Slack. So we're going to look at that today. But there's a lot of people, like I said, mostly software engineers. And I think there's a lot we can learn from software engineers. If you don't know Scrum, we teach Scrum in the officials as well, which is a way to move projects along. It has to do with having a daily stand-up, everyone choosing their tasks, declaring the task they're working on. You have it in a to-do pile, then you move it to doing, and then to done, and then software engineers would move it to testing, and then release, which is when you get a software release. And I think that as assistants, this is a really good system for us when our tasks become larger than I'm touching my notebook, larger than a page on your notebook. I think it's really important. And Trello is basically a digital Kanban board, which is another type of Scrum, sort of. And it lets you have lists and cards that you can move along and track the progress assigned to people. And that integrates with Slack really well. So the thing I like about Slack is that you can access it from the web. You can access it on your phone, which I have the officials community right here on my phone. And you can download a desktop application, which I really encourage, because I think I have to remind members of the officials that it's not like they sign up mostly to join the community. And I purposely chose Slack because I feel it adds something. It's free. So I'll tell you about the free version, Claudette. But it mostly is used, like a lot of people just use it as a web or a mobile application. They just think it's like WhatsApp, but it's the desktop application that's my favorite. And then if I'm at somebody else's house or I'm at the library or for some reason I don't have my laptop or whatever, then I can still log into my workspace, which is your work area. Your company creates you a workspace, which we'll get into the terminology of Slack. And I really like the desktop application. There, you can create Slack for free. You can create your own workspace for free. It allows you to have up to 10,000 messages before it lets you not be able to access those. You have to upgrade to be able to access old messages. It took us at the official 6 months to hit that point. But it's okay because it's kind of like an ongoing, flowing conversation. And we store data in a different way because we just use the free application at the moment. I'm trying to actually work with Slack to change some of the things that they do because I think it could be better for communities, which is what I use it for. But I think it's great because it's something you can add to your CV just by joining the officials, because then you have to use Slack. And everyone I've asked people, do you want to go back to a Facebook group? Would you like me to do like a forum on our website? And they're like, don't go away from Slack. We absolutely love Slack. Please don't leave it. So it's a great software and I really like it. And like I said, for free, you get quite a lot out of it. You get so many apps that you can download into Slack as well. And that has a limit. But mostly, I don't know many people that have to start paying. They have certain pricing for nonprofit. If your company has strict IT processes, how would this apply? So one, I would talk to your IT team and ask them about how, if they're using Slack. I found out at a company I was with, I was there trying to convince people to go to Slack. Then I found that they had been on Slack. The IT team had been on Slack and had never rolled it out to the whole company. Also, I fully believe sometimes in asking for forgiveness instead of permission, because nothing stops you from creating your own workspace if you want to create a community for the assistants in your company to work from. And if it makes you more productive and you find it helpful, you know, I've done that many times in the past. But that really is the best answer to that is go have a conversation with them. Tell them you're really interested in them. You love that engineers use this. Now you want to know about GitHub. Now you want to know about Trello. Now you want to know about more about the CRM system and can it integrate with this? Do you have something like this? Now I know IT can be feisty, let's say. Has anyone, I'll have to send you guys a clip. There was a great SNL clip with I can't remember his name. I'm getting like mum brain. And Jimmy Fallon, and he used to be Brian, the IT guy, and he'd just be like, move over and take over their keyboards. And he would say, you can't use that, dummy, you got to use this. And I know sometimes IT departments can feel like departments of no, but if you are kind to them, appeal to them, show interest and say, oh, I've been looking into this, it's so exciting, can you tell me more? They're more inclined to work with you. And your company is using Team in the next few months. So I think this is, Maria says, so I think that's going to be really great because you're going to see things here you'll see in Teams. U.S. company with strict rules. Siobhan, that's something you're just going to have to talk to them about, sadly, because it's a tough one. It's a tough one when you want to introduce productivity and you are blocked. It depends on who you support. Sometimes I've convinced. If you convince the CEO, it's funny because IT teams will often say no, no, no. Like I remember when iPhones rolled out, everyone had a BlackBerry and all our IT team or our sales teams wanted iPhones because they were selling the latest technology. They're like, I can't walk in there with a BlackBerry. I need to have an iPhone. And IT departments, no, 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 security, security, security. Then the CEO wanted an iPhone. All of a sudden he got an iPhone and said, well, why can't the sales team have an iPhone? And then all of a sudden everybody got an iPhone. So it also depends on who you're friends with and what little whisper you can put in so-and-so's ear, right? I work for a big corporation, so I know I wouldn't be able to, but we have Teams, which is excellent. Okay, fantastic. And this is always just good to know, like if someday you want to create your own community or someday you work for a company that uses Slack, then this is going to be great for you. Okay, so here are some of the terminology for Slack. Workspace, that is like what Slack is. That's what you're working in is the workspace. Basically, that's per company. I am actually in several Slack workspaces because I'm in the official Slack workspace. I'm in EA, which is Empowering Assistance. I can't remember. That's one. I'm also in City Pantry has one called OMG, and I'm in their Slack. Jeremy Burroughs has a Slack, which I haven't joined yet because I'm in his Facebook group, so I just haven't moved over yet, but that's another one. And so there's a ton of communities out there that are already speaking in Slack. So those are 4 different workspaces that I'm currently in, but basically each one of those is their own environment. That's their own island for that company, and all of the Slack activity that happens in each workspace. A channel, so if you think about WhatsApp, you're all maybe having group texts. What channels allow you to do is talk in, oh, my voice is going again, Lisa, it's going again. My voice totally went last week. Is that you can now have conversations specifically on certain topics. So you can see down the right-hand side here, some of my channels. Some of them are private. They have that little lock on the side, which like my admin team, myself, and people at the officials people that help me and are on my team at the officials, only we can see that. Another member can't see those. But what they normally would see, and I name mine with like 01, so they come up right at the top because they usually list them in alphabetical order. So I want people to know when they first join, 01 general discussion is like the place where we all have a big flowing conversation. That's kind of like walking into the canteen, essentially. And then I have a careers channel where we're just listing job posts, and you can join that channel or not. If you want to get notifications about it, you can. So you can choose which conversations you want to be a part of. Then if you see like at the bottom here, it says like LOC Australia, LOC España, LOC France. Those are for assistance in, because I think it's really important for us to be speaking regionally as well. And I started the officials in New York, but I moved back to London. And I really think it's really important because if you join some of these big groups, like there's a really big one on Facebook, has like nearly 9,000 members, totally free to join. But everyone's like, who's here from Sri Lanka? And it happens all the time. Who's here from New York? I need a question. I'd rather than just be able to go to that channel and say, hey guys, I need a dry cleaner in New York. Hey guys, I need a restaurant here, and be able to have those specific conversations. So the reason why I moved my community to Slack was because of channels. So does that make sense? And for those of you that work in teams, do you see how these are kind of aligning? So kind of let me know in the chat. Direct messages is direct messaging. So you can either so you can create private channels, let me just say. So if you work in your own team, you have an admin team, or maybe you're part of the people team or the marketing team, you can have a private channel where it's just you guys. You can have a private discussion. If you want to do a group private discussion that's more informal, just maybe 1 or 2 people, then you might want to just do that in direct messaging. But if it's something that's going to be more permanent, a streaming set of consciousness, or about a project, you can have a channel for a project or a channel for a team. You can make it private or not private. That is something you are able to do. And then where Slack really shines is these integrations, these apps that you can add to Slack. So we've already talked a little bit about don't touch the mouse. So you can use shortcuts in Slack. I've put some in here for Mac and Windows, but you can literally just Google keyboard shortcuts for Slack and you'll find a whole bunch. But it's nice to be able to like switch back and forth between workstations, switch back and forth or workspaces, switch back and forth between channels if you're going back and forth between your team and the general. And so, like I said, for software engineers that are always just working and writing code and communicating, they don't want to have to stop and go back over and click with their mouse. The time is precious, right? So here are just a few. And then another thing is you can add emojis into conversations. Now Slack has very, very recently changed their design a little bit to make it more user-friendly for people that aren't used to keyboard strokes and like using their mouse. And I'll kind of show you what that is. But it used to be if you wanted to add an emoji, you would be typing like colon, the name of whatever that emoji, and you start to learn. It's amazing the amount of names of emojis, like FL for flag dash EN would be, or USA or whatever would be a USA flag or whatever. So a lot of it was typing stuff out, but they've changed it slightly. Or you'd have to put a star or an asterisk, hello, another asterisk, and that would make it bold. And then here are some of the Slack apps that I personally like. I like integrating Gmail. I like integrating Trello because I can assign tasks. I like Greetbot. So Greetbot is an app that you can install that so when members first start at the officials, they get a message right away saying, welcome to the officials Slack community. We're so glad you are here. This is how you get started. Go to this channel first. Make sure you introduce yourself. Make sure that you make sure that you put in a picture, and it says something else. But it's just an app that allows me, every time a new person joins, for them to get a nice little onboarding intro, right? And then that's just about me. I'm going to leave that there. If anyone wants to ever message me or anything after this, here's my details. But I want to actually take you through, to set up a workspace. So I've kind of slightly started this, and I'm going to change my new share. I'm actually going to share this whole desktop with you. Okay, so this is my desktop. So now you're seeing like the magic behind the scenes. Okay, so let me close some of this stuff. I'm going to take down the notifications. Okay, so can everyone see my Slack right now? So I've kind of put something else to you, because for GDPR and reasons, I don't want you to be able to see all the conversations that are happening. Obviously, I'm getting a private message from Meg, but I will get to her when I get back in. I also have a workstation for empowered assistants, and the OMG network. This is me looking into Slack, but Slack applications. But what I've done is, I'm going to pull over, is I went to slack.com and I said, I want to set up a workstation. And they asked me to put in my email. And so I don't know, does anyone here have Gmail? Did you know that you can create aliases for Gmail, and you can do this plus, like so my personal email, which you now can all see, is laurenmariebradley@gmail.com. Did you know you can put a plus after, right before that at symbol? So plus Slack, plus junk, plus whatever, and it all still comes to your regular email address. But then I can set filters within my Gmail to say, if anything comes for Lauren Marie Bradley plus junk, send into my junk folder. If anything comes for Lauren Marie Bradley plus Slack, just archive, because I won't use it after this. That's just a neat little Gmail tip, if anyone doesn't know that. So they have sent me this code. So what I did was, it asked me to put in my email address to create a new workspace, totally free. It sent me a code. So I'm going to put the code in, 094, and I'm literally going to walk you through. I bet you it timed out. Hold on. Yeah, it did. Hold on. I got a new one, 392167. Okay, so what's the name of my company or my team? So why don't we call this the Officials and Miss Jones, PA. What's a project your team is working on? Remote working, let's say. Who do I email most about this project? I'm just going to say Lauren at jointheofficials.com. So I've created my first channel called Remote Working. See your channel in Slack, fantastic. So what this has done is it's created, I'm in the web application here. I've just opened up like a second browser, and I don't want to enable those. Ask me later. Okay. So I'm going to invite you fine folks to join this channel. So you guys can all come in. I've just dropped that in the chat. Oh, Lisa, I'm really glad you knew about, I'm glad to have told you about Gmail. That's a cool one, right? So I've just put in that link so you guys can come join us. Come join us here. So Slack has totally just redesigned. Some people are still getting the old design, some are getting the new design. It actually looks a lot like Gmail at the moment. I don't know if anyone's working in Gmail. I kind of call these like the Rebel Assistant software applications, people that basically aren't working in Microsoft. Oh, Cheryl, do you not see the link right above where you put it in the chat? If you just scroll up, does anyone? Oh, it's going to panelists. I'm sorry, that's why. No, of course you don't see it because I didn't send it to attendees. I only sent it to panelists. Thank you for telling me that. So does everyone see the link now? I'm assuming yes, hopefully. Yeah, okay. So now I have, oh look, Lisa's here already. Yay. Okay, so so you start off pretty generic. I can start inviting people, but you guys are gonna start popping up in here yourself, essentially. And it starts you with a few channels. It starts you with general channel, which I renamed in my officials 01 underscore general underscore discussions to try and help people understand where it would be. Because if I leave it this way and I keep adding channels, general will get pushed down. But mostly when people enter your workstation, they start with at least being added to this one channel. There's this friendly little guy called Slackbot that helps give you some information. So it's just told me that Lisa has joined. Let's see who else is here. Okay, Anne's here, fantastic. Then you can also go in and start to customize your own activity. You can customize your own photo, put a photo in there, put your contact information. So if this was for your company, you have the ability to do that. You can change your status. Okay, so let's go to the general discussion and let me show you a few things. Let's see if this works. I don't think it shouldn't work. So there's this really fun thing called Giphy, and it is an app that integrates with Slack. So I'm just going to say Giphy, thank you. And I think it's going to say you need to add Giphy as an integration. So the way it works is kind of like you could tell developers created it, is you start with commands. You can say all these commands. So I can invite people, I can message people, again, never having to touch my mouse. And I've just typed in this one that I already know about called Giphy. And Giphy basically brings up fun GIFs that are related to the keyword that you then type afterwards. So I typed Giphy, thank you. It's telling me I need to integrate that. No one else can see that but me. So I'm going to click on the integration because I want you to see exactly what happens. You get taken to this app directory for Slack. There are so many in here. So you can integrate this with so much. And that's really the point of Slack, is to have all these integrations to be in one workspace that allows you to do a bunch of things. So add Giphy integration. Enable Giphy previews. You'll see why that's important. Your settings have been saved. Okay, hopefully. Now I should be able to do this. God help me. I always test these things, but we will see if this works. So Giphy, thank you. Okay, so what I get is it pulls from the Giphy website or the Giphy app, and it starts to give me, oh God, last week a really inappropriate picture came up when we were searching for Easter eggs. And so I hope nothing inappropriate comes in here. It's usually pretty good. So if anyone was there last week, you'll know what I'm talking about. Yes, but nothing happens when should it work if I just click the link? I'm on an iPhone. You might have to copy and paste the link to make it work if you're just on your phone. Sorry guys, it's not letting me make it a link for you. I'm not sure if I can, I'm not 100% sure how to make that link I sent you a link. Maybe Lisa can send it out to the attendees or something in the background. So I can then hit shuffle and find the perfect, cute Giphy, just something that brings the call. Oh, okay, Mario, done. So now everyone should get that. So as you just are starting in Slack, activities that kind of train you through the process. Slack has so much information. You should be able to Google how to do anything you want. It's more just being able to know. It's more being able to know what is possible. And I can tell you a lot more is possible than you can imagine. So I'm just going to say, got it. Thank you very much. So in other things, so before, you guys can see right now at the bottom of my messenger here, you've got, I can make it bold. This little term shortcuts is new. Italics, you used to not be able to do that. What you used to have to do is type, this is bold. I don't have to have it in all caps, I'm just typing it, and put little asterisks around it. You used to have to put an underscore, italics, to do that. And you still can, because if you're someone that doesn't want to have to move their mouse, you can still do that. If you wanted to do an emoji, I know that star, and it starts to tell you all the little cheats, would be colon, star, colon, gives me stars. You also, so can somebody type something? Andrea, Joy's one of the members of the officials. She knows all about Slack. So Joy, why don't you type me something and I will react to it. Hey, thank you very much, Joy. So the nice thing also is that it goes one step beyond WhatsApp. Is now Joy and I, so this is like a big thread that we're all involved in, but now I can say, you know what, I want to take this to a side conversation. So I'm going to start a thread just on this specific thing. So like the other day, somebody asked a question. Let me think, what did they ask a question about? I have an executive questionnaire on the website that I use personally when I onboard myself, which usually happens because we don't get a lot of training, right? And so I onboard myself to a new job, and I take this executive questionnaire to my boss, and it literally has on it, what is your, I need your passport. I need to know when to sit aisle or window. I want to know, do you want a vegan meal or this or that or whatever? And it starts, I go through it and ask them all these questions because I want them now, because it'll help me when I actually get a request that requires this information. Someone was asking, has anyone used this before? Because it used to be a PDF. And so do you print it out? Do you give it to them? Do they fill it out? Now that we're all working remotely, it would be really nice to have it in a document form or in a Google Docs form or a Word form. And I was able to start a thread and say, hey, I actually created that myself. That's a really great request or thought about it. So then I tagged Marta. So I will show you, I'm going to tag somebody here. Hi, Joy. So great to see you. And then I'm going to say, so I just type an and or an at symbol. So I haven't had to touch anything, and I'm going to talk. I'm going to bring Sally on in here. Sally, say hi to Joy. So Sally should get a ping telling her someone's just tagged her. She'll see at the top, like there's a thread. Joy, can you respond in the thread, and I'll show kind of what happens. But also I can go over here and add a reaction and add, which I love to do. I like to add hearts when I see people join. But then you also, so hi there. Oh, maybe because I'm not tagged. But normally it would say in threads that I've had, if I click over to threads that I'm being tagged, these are all the threads that I've been chatting in and I might want to know more about. Oh, look, Sally's responding. Fantastic. I'm going to go back to general, get out of the thread. But now you can see, because you can see right here where Joy has said hello and I've hearted it. And so is Joy, and you can see the different people right there that are having conversations in that thread, but it's not disturbing everybody in the channel. You can click on it and say, I want to view this thread and find out what have they been diving into, but it's not bothering the stream of consciousness that's happening in the general thread. It's only specific to people that want to join that little side thread, essentially. Oh, I love everyone here. Okay, so another thing that's really useful is to say at channel. So at channel, I like to do this, don't overuse at channel and don't overuse at here. At channel will message everyone in the workspace that is in this channel. General has everybody from your company there. So, or if you add this for your company. So use at channel. In one of the big general channels, like let only key specific communicators talk about that. But hi all, I'm just going to say that. So you all should get, it'll tell me there's people here in 2 different time zones. There's 11 people here. I'm going to send that out. And then everyone should get a notification that signed into Slack that there's this, this message for you. At here is a way to only message the people that are online right now in that channel. So that's another good one to use as well. And then I can tag anybody all day long and say, Andrea, great work today. And then, see, Giphies are only good for, Giphies I just love because they're a sense of culture and community. Like it's a way to break down those work walls. Excuse me. And so I like using them. There you go. Great work, Andrea. Fantastic. So we can add channels. So let's create a channel real quick. So let's call this careers isn't the best one, maybe jobs. Let's say careers. And then here you can put a description. So I've gone over to channels on the left-hand side. I've hit that little plus button. Sorry, I think I did that kind of fast. I said add a new channel. It's really important to give your channel description. This channel is for, is to list job posts and job seekers advice. And then what I can do is, like, I might have rules about this that say, I'm going to add everybody to it. Automatically add anyone who joins. Fantastic. So I've got some options, or I can say, don't add everybody. Do not automatically join, because this is a private channel. And there I can also choose that it is private and no one can come in and no one can see it. And I can only invite in who I want. And the easiest way to do that is just by hitting @ in a private channel. So let's make a private channel real quick. So you'll see that only I will see it. And you want, so we're just going to call it private. But when you add these job descriptions, if you have rules only for that channel, like I have a rule for general saying, like, you can't promote things, you can't hit people up for cash, like there's different, whatever it is, of different job description rules. I've created those in a Google Doc, which then I've shared a link to. So I've just pasted the link literally in the description of the channel. And I've also pasted the link to the Getting Started with Slack. Like they actually have their own videos and tutorials on how to get started with Slack. And I've literally linked that there and said, like, this might be a good place. If you've never done anything with Slack before, it's a good place to start. So I'm going to make this a private channel. I'm going to create it, and I'm going to bring in Lisa, and it's just going to be me and her. So now you guys shouldn't see this channel, but you'll see that I can see it because I have this little key there. And I've added Lisa, but now I want to add Joy. And so what happens is I hit Joy, hi Lisa, and it says, Joy isn't in this private channel. Are you sure you want to invite them? And I do. So invite them. Wondering who can read your recent messages? It's a private channel, so your teammates who are in the channel now or who are invited to it later can read the messages sent here. Got it. Just a little bit of info from our friendly Slack bot. Fantastic. So why don't we go back to general? So that's a little bit about private channels. I could go into like, okay, here I'm going to send just Ann a message. Hi. So that's a private message. I can also go to direct message and say I want to talk to Chris, and I want to talk to Claudette. Go. And it makes essentially what is a mini group chat. Hi both. And now we're all in this together, and it's a private conversation. Oh, Cheryl, I'm sorry. We will send you this afterwards, and I'll keep this up for a while, and you guys can come in and play. If you guys want to come in, I'll sit in this afterwards, and we can chat on here. You can ask me questions, and we'll go from there. So we'll send you the link. So if anyone here is on Instagram, join the officials, DM me, I'll send you the link. If anyone here, my email is lauren@jointheofficials.com. Yeah, I'll send you this link. I think Lisa's going to send it out, but if you need it faster, she might have to go through her email system to do it. If you need it faster, or just privately message me here if you can do that, and send me your email address, and everyone will be able to see it. So if you don't want to share it, don't do that. If you want to just share your email and you're okay with it, I'll just plug it in. Okay, so you can see that we're having this conversation. I'm assuming that Chris and Claudette saw that I sent them a private message. And this is really helpful. So if we're going to talk about being an assistant, one of the struggles that assistants are having right now that are used to working in Slack is that now that everyone's remote, people are just slacking their executives. And normally it would be a conversation. Let me take Belinda's email. I'm going to add you, Belinda, right now. So normally if they would be involved in like face-to-face conversations, And all of a sudden, someone's just slacking their boss. It's not like watching their inbox. It is a private message that you cannot see. So that is one of the struggles of Slack as an assistant, is you have to start to train people to say, okay, we have a channel, or you have to message us both together, and train your executive to make sure that that is happening, especially if you have a really good relationship with your executive and you're like, hey, this is just going to waste time. If I'm not casually observing all this stuff, then you're going to have this conversation. The app itself. And another member of the officials that works for a very big bank in London, we have been in talks. We're going to try and have talks with Slack. I know her company talks to Slack a lot. I've been talking to them. They've sent me a couple pairs of socks. I actually saved my hometown with Slack. There was a big flood. So I got everyone on Slack. We had one channel for laundry ladies, one channel for meal trains, one channel for tradesmen that went and helped rip out all the damaged furniture and stuff out of people's homes. Like I had grandmothers on Slack. If I can get grandmothers on Slack, and volleyball coaches and things like that, then anyone can learn Slack. And it really did. And now I have Slack socks. So anyway, we've talked a little bit about channels. We've talked a bit about how to add an app. So I can add an app like, let's add another app. So I'm going to go back to this app directory, but literally you can just type in like Trello for Slack. Oh, let's do Doodle, let's do Poll. Oh, I don't know what that is, but I liked that one. So let's add a simple poll. So I want to ask you guys, what do you want for lunch? I'm about to order it for everybody. Then this simple app, I really like Simple Poll. Really super easy. It's free. I don't have to, because some of these aren't free. It'll add it to Slack, but it will, then you have to go to their website and like register and subscribe. So just make sure there's not a cost associated with something. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. I'll just do my special just for this Slack. I've used Simple Poll before in the context of my job. Oh, with the Slack community, blah, blah, blah. Okay, continue. Okay, so if I go back here and we go back into general. Oh, Joy. Oh, I'm glad oh yeah, there's Joy. Okay, so let's type in poll. So as that you can see, I'm starting to, and if you went back to that website about poll, it'll tell you what the little, what the slash commands are, but I already knew because I've used it before. It's /poll. Where should we have lunch? So, where should we have lunch? Fat guys? Which may as well be, okay. So now everyone can vote. So you can click and vote and it will tell you who voted. Oh, I have unread mentions. So Simple Poll, the app, so apps will actually tell me, because I installed it, what to do here. And it tells me how I can set it up. There's videos that I can go to their website and figure it out. But so now everyone can click on these. Where do you guys want to see? There we go. Yay, you guys are using it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited you're using this. Does anyone have any questions right now? Am I going too fast? Are you following along? We're going to run out of time here soon. But I want to show you one other fun thing. That's all I really have time to show you. Like this integration is just showing you very simple ones, but this can get complicated. Like mine is tied into Trello and I can assign tasks to my team members. Claudette's finding it a bit tricky. I know, I'm really giving you a fast crash course, but like if you ever join the officials, you know, you get to learn it bit by bit. If you can see a reason to use it, it's like Teams, you just kind of start to slowly learn it. It took me a long time to kind of see these things. I would observe somebody doing something. I go, wait a second, how did you do that? Or I'd Google it myself and figure it out. But I want you to be able to see what's possible. And then you might think, okay, well, I need to organize a race. I need to organize some kind of charity thing. I need to organize something, maybe it's not even related to work. Maybe it's some type of community thing. and you think, oh, that's, you could use this for your own family. So we keep a place where you guys can talk about recipes, where you talk about family holidays. You know, you can actually create your own family workspace if you wanted to, or your friend workspace, where it's like your own little club. It doesn't just have to be for work. It's actually more simple than you think. I hope you play around with it afterwards, Claudette, and we can talk. You can actually integrate Zoom into this, so I can instantly just start typing /Zoom, and it will create an instant like /Zoom meeting, enter, and then like if somebody says, hey, can we just all jump on a Zoom, type that in, and boom, we all have an instant link, and we can jump in and go from there. But let me show you one other funny little thing. So one thing I like to do is Slack custom emojis. So in the officials, we have, my symbol is a little shield. And so I've added that, like I did that in Canva. So if anyone hasn't seen the Canva presentation, I believe it's all been recorded. So it's somewhere in Miss Jones PA. You can go and watch that. And it's a really great way to make images and stock photography and really great like Instagram posts or signs or presentations. That presentation I just so let's add some custom emojis. Let's find this is how to do it. Sorry, hold on. So let's just sorry, I thought the last time I searched this. I'm going to see if I can steal this. Save image. Downloads is fine. And then when I go back into Slack, you can add attachments, you can send photos here, you can upload documents. It's just an easy way to be constantly having a flowing conversation next to you while you're doing your work without having someone have to come up to you and interrupt you. A lot of people use this as their triage instead of their inbox. I know that when I worked at Drama Fever, we all use Slack, and I used it over my inbox as where I triaged requests. So if somebody had stopped me and said, hey, we need more of this, or hey, did you set up, I need a meeting with so-and-so, I would say, send me a Slack, and that is where I triaged everything. And so what I can do is, so now I want to add an emoji. I can go down here and it says, I love that now, brand new, you can change your skin tone, but add emoji. Let's see if this works. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'll just choose this because I have my little site icon and my little officials icon. I'm going to add it and I get to call it. So you remember how I said you can type with these little columns. I'm going to call it official. We could put the little Miss Jones PA image in here as well. So now, if anyone starts to type :official, you'll see it come up. Or what happens is when somebody joins my community and I'm really excited and now they're an official, I can just click on their like well joined and add my little symbol to say like, hey, you're an official now. We also use it for voting sometimes. So do you want to go to the park or beach? So you can say, you can do an emoji for, so let's do an emoji for a tree for the park. And we will do, there's like a sunset, right? There's something in here like a sunset. Let's see, that'll probably be here. Oh, there we go. Let's just choose a sun. And so what people can then do is you could vote with a reaction. So you can type in sun, I want to go to the beach. And then, or I can already put that there is And people can, if you click on one of these, it'll add one to it. And so I can see like how many people clicked on the sun want to go to the beach, and how many people clicked on the tree want to go to the park. So I know these are really kind of, I've simplified this ways to use it. I think it's really worth playing around with. I could see people are starting to vote, and when I hover over these, you can see who voted as well. But that is, in a nutshell, at least how to get started with Slack. Now, eventually I'm going to offer a course where we get deeper into it, and I want to show you it a little bit tough if you want to introduce it to your company, as Siobhan has pointed out, that you need to have that conversation with your IDPT department. I think charming people is the great way to go, is say, I think your job's so hard. I was just reading this great article. I know I'm a little late to the party on Slack, but I'd love to know what you think about it. Do you guys use it here? Because I think it's something like that, even if you don't just say Slack, because they might be Team Microsoft and they might want to say Teams is the way to go, which in fact, if you have an all Microsoft stack of technology, Teams is the way to go. I like Slack because it allows you to integrate. It's not specific to Microsoft, and I kind of like the ability to pick and choose what applications, what my tech stack looks like. So I like have a WordPress website. I have Gmail. I have Trello. I might change that someday to Asana. I might not want to like buy into a really expensive system like Microsoft. So yeah, so there's certain things you can incorporate. So Lisa's a great, Lisa just asked me, can I incorporate this into the web, or can people incorporate this into their websites? So I was just recently looking at like a chat bot, so that when people go to the website, not a chat bot because it would actually be a human, but if someone went to my website and it says, do you need more help, and you have questions, then what happens is I get pinged in Slack, someone's looking for help, and I can talk to them live through Slack. I can answer all my emails live through Slack. I can talking to my team constantly, all in Slack. I personally like the desktop application. I love the mobile application, like on the go, just as like a messenger, but I like to sit down. I like to use, this is the web version, which is almost identical to the desktop application, but I like being able to have it not be a tab in a browser. Oh, okay. So then someone's just asked me, what is Asana? So Asana is a lot like Trello. If anyone knows Trello, Asana, Monday.com probably is the most common one that people hear a lot about. And I did a training on for that. And it's basically a way to create a to-do list. You make lists. Imagine, hold on. So Asana is very much like Trello in that I'm not going to be able to bring it up at the moment. You have those three lists, as I said, but Asana actually allows you to go a bit deeper. Trello I like because it starts off really vague. It's like imagining one big pin board, and you've literally like drawn a line, 2 lines down it, so that one side says to do with to do. And then as you change it to doing, you move it over. You're like, okay, I'm going to work on this project, and you move it over to the doing list. And when you're done, you're constantly, I don't know which way you guys are seeing me, if it's a mirror image, but you're constantly trying to move things to the right, from to do, doing, done. Asana gets deeper into, you can hold documents in there. You can have a wiki in there. It just gets a little bit deeper. Trello, I like, starts off really simple, and then you can add all these add-ons and automations that make it more interesting, which is why I like to start people with that. But again, these are all free. Trello is free with certain functionalities. Asana is free with certain functionalities. Slack is free with quite a lot of functionality. What they're hoping is that startups will use this, they'll become successful, and then they'll buy into the, because I think it's like pounds a person or something. And I think there's definitely charity and education rates. So if you work for a school or anything like that, I think it's like 2 pounds a person to join. But for now, I use the free version because that's all we need at the officials, and it works fine. And then I don't have to pass a month extra on top just to basically incur, so I can help incur that cost. So I just use the free version and it works just fine. Lisa, we can talk about an Asana training another time, or I'm writing a G Suite course right now. Okay, so I would love to hear what you guys thought about this. I know it was very fast. Did it at least open your mind? Are you playing around with it a little bit? I'd love to see you like literally send me a private message, create your own channel. Like, please play around with it. And like I said, send me a message on email to let me know if there's anything that you have any questions, or if you want to talk to me one-on-one, I can help you in some way. But now you can actually add that, you've worked in Slack to your CV. This is mostly every day what people use it for, is for talking in different channels. That's the biggest extent of it. What else you can do with it, with adding all these applications to it, is like the icing on the cake. And I can't even tell you how many layers of icing there is. Like, there's literally, I wonder if I can just show you Slack apps, like how many will just come up. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but the fan on my computer is going. I was editing videos earlier today. But you can see all the different categories. Donut is another, like, onboarding. Monday.com, we were talking about. Polly for HR, Slack for Outlook. You can bring in your Outlook, messages, tasks. There's lots and lots. I mean, these are just a few, but I can't even tell you. If I just do working from home and hit see all, the amount of applications that integrate with this, and you never have Zendesk. I got Zoom in mind so we can quickly jump into a call. I think Vox, Dropbox, pulling links in from that. We had Slack at a previous organization, but we all just got given it with no training, so no big uptake. Only 2 of us in the organization signed up to use it. Claudia, that stinks, because I know other places that have not properly introduced it, where they should be like, all communication is going to happen in Slack, and then given training and said, listen, your team, we're going to set you up in this right now so that you can be talking. Because I actually worked for a recruitment company where they were literally shouting across, this in the last year, shouting across the office to say, so-and-so is on a call, blah, blah, blah. Their IT was terrible there. And instead of just slacking someone, saying, you've got a call online too, instead they were literally like shouting across each other. And it's another way to get instant messaging in your company, where it's actually about work productivity, and where bosses don't go, oh, okay, you just want to like message your friends and goof off. That's not what it's about. It's create like pub channels or quiz channels or fun. Like, we have a fun channel. We have a reading and watching channels where we just talk about what we're binging, really good books for assistants. Like, I don't know if anybody's read The Founder and the Force Multiplier by Hallie Warner. Really, really good book, written by an executive assistant and a startup founder. And we just talk about those types of things. We share pictures of our kids. There's parent channels. It's another way to connect, especially in large organizations, with people across the company, especially when it's really hard to leave your desk or you're working from home. So that is in a nutshell what Slack is, and how to get started with it. I literally just wanted to walk you guys through it and show you, like, look, I just literally clicked, and there's a next button. I literally just clicked working from home. And you can see how many applications integrate with it. And that's really, really, like, I haven't even gotten into that. Like, you can do one course on one integration in Slack, and just how essential it is. I was like, you have to be using Slack. I know she's, it depends on your team size. It depends on what you really need it for. I never think you should take something on if what's working is fine. Don't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it you don't have to like progress for the sake of progress. If you've got stuff that works, use what works. But there's a free application. I hope you liked it. I love you guys. I'm gonna turn off my mic and volume here. I'm sorry, my mic and video here, but I'm going to stay in the Slack group for a little bit and hope that you guys chat. If you want to talk to me there, please do so. If anyone wants the link, like I said, message me. But I hope that you like this today. Thank you again, Lisa, for inviting me to do this.
Thank you.
I've got 1,000 ideas of tech hacks. If anybody has anything they want to see. Oh, hi, Lisa.
Hi. Thank you so much. That was so interesting.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And I'm going to have to set one up now for Miss Jones. So you'll have to help me.
I did. The first time we talked, I was like, oh, you have to have Trello and you have to have Slack and you can integrate them. And I was like, have me come in, I'll talk to you. So I hope I got you excited enough to see the benefits of it.
Definitely. I love it. However, yeah.
Here, let me give you my email address, guys. Someone's just asking for it here.